Imagine a remote island where people routinely live past 100 years old, maintaining a level of physical health and independence that seems impossible by modern Western standards. I am Dr. Hope, and for years, our collective understanding of longevity has centered on grueling marathons, heavy weightlifting, and counting steps, the intense, high-impact routines promoted relentlessly by the fitness industry. Yet, in Okinawa, Japan, where more people over 100 years old reside than anywhere else on Earth, a strange paradox exists. Most of these elders have never done a single push-up, never lifted a weight, and never counted a rep in their entire lives. They are not pursuing fitness as we define it. Instead, they are simply pursuing functional living. They can still bend down to tend their gardens, climb stairs without grabbing the railing, and critically, get up from the floor without help. This is the true definition of senior vitality, and it challenges everything we thought we knew about exercise. Scientists traveled to these islands fully expecting to uncover some secret supplement, a miracle food, or a specific genetic mutation. What they discovered, however, shocked the entire fitness and medical world. The centenarians were doing something completely different, something ancient and entirely simple. They were holding positions, not moving, just holding. This ancient practice is called isometric stretching, and it fundamentally changes how you activate your muscles. Instead of moving a joint through a range of motion, which is what happens in a conventional squat or run, you activate your muscles without any movement at all. You simply hold a position and let tension do all the work against an immovable object, or even your own body weight. For seniors, this discovery is nothing short of revolutionary, offering a path to strength and mobility that bypasses the joint pain and high-impact risks associated with conventional exercise. When we talk about isometric exercise, we are talking about creating a muscle contraction where the muscle length does not visibly change, effectively placing the muscle under a sustained load, or time under tension. This focus on tension and duration, rather than repetition and movement, is the key to their profound benefits for an aging body. It is simple holds that anyone can do, regardless of age or current fitness level. The evidence for the superiority of this method over walking, swimming, or running, particularly for senior health markers, is now irrefutable. A groundbreaking study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine in 2023, which analyzed data from over 15,000 participants, delivered a staggering conclusion. It found that isometric exercises reduced blood pressure more effectively than any other form of exercise. We are not talking about a marginal benefit. We're talking about an average drop of nearly 9 points in systolic pressure. That result is better than running, better than swimming, and better than cycling. For a population where high blood pressure is a leading contributor to stroke and heart disease, this single finding is immense. But the benefits of the isometric approach extend far beyond the cardiovascular system. Japanese researchers at Kyoto University provided the physiological explanation for this incredible efficiency. They discovered that isometric holds dramatically increase something called time under tension, which is the total amount of time your muscles spend working during an exercise. Consider a regular squat. Your muscles might work for 2 seconds on the way down and 2 seconds on the way up, totaling perhaps 4 seconds of work per rep. But when you hold an isometric position, your muscles can be contracted for 30, 60, or even 90 seconds straight. This sustained, uninterrupted activation dramatically engines merchandise and builds what scientists call functional strength. Functional strength is the kind of strength you actually use in daily life, the kind that helps you carry heavy groceries, open stubborn jars, and, most importantly for seniors, catch yourself quickly and stabilize your body if you stumble. This is the secret to the Okinawan elders' independence. They may not have six-pack abs, but their muscles are trained for integrated resilience, trained to function as a coordinated whole, ready for the unpredictable demands of daily living. Over the course of this episode, I will share the 5 specific isometric stretches that these Japanese elders have been practicing for generations. These are not complex yoga poses or dangerous flexibility tests requiring years of practice. They are simple, powerful holds. When we arrive at the number 1 most important movement, you will understand why researchers at Tokyo University called it the single most effective isometric movement for longevity. Their study found that people who practiced this one stretch daily had a massive 63% lower risk of falls compared to those who did not. A 63% reduction in fall risk. That number alone should convince you of the value of this simple, non-moving approach. We will systematically break down these 5 stretches. First, the seated wall press, which corrects your posture and strengthens your upper back. Second, the standing hip anchor, which builds the hip stability crucial for preventing falls. Third, the door frame chest opener, which releases the common tension accumulated from daily activities and improves breathing. Fourth, the seated knee press, which protects your knee joints and maintains independent mobility. Finally, the wall sit breath hold, which ties all these benefits together into a comprehensive system for longevity and independence. Stay with me, because in the next section, we are going to explore the muscle science behind why a 60-second hold is metabolically superior to a 60-minute walk. The scientific community's fascination with the Okinawan elders led to a deeper understanding of muscular longevity, moving beyond the simplistic idea that more movement equals more health. The critical discovery, led by Japanese researchers at Kyoto University, centered on a concept known as time under tension. When you perform traditional dynamic exercise, like lifting a weight or taking a step, your muscle spends only fleeting moments in its most activated state. For example, in a regular squat, the descent might involve muscle work for 2 seconds and the ascent for another 2 seconds. In between these moments, the muscle gets a brief period of relaxation, or is subject to reduced load. This cyclical relaxation reduces the total time the muscle is truly engaged at a high level. Isometric exercise flips this dynamic completely. By holding an unmoving position against resistance, the muscle remains contracted for the entire duration of the exercise. This means your muscles can work for 30, 60, or even 90 seconds straight without any interruption. This sustained contraction, this maximized time under tension, is what dramatically increases muscle activation and builds a distinct and crucial type of strength. Scientists refer to this as functional strength. It is essential to understand the difference between absolute strength and functional strength, especially as we age. Absolute strength is what you measure in a gym, how much weight you can bench press once. Functional strength, however, is the strength you actually use in daily life. It is the power needed to carry heavy groceries from the car into the house, the stability to open a tight jar, or the explosive reaction time required to catch yourself if you stumble on an uneven sidewalk. This is the strength that determines independence and quality of life in your senior years. The Japanese elders focus on this integrated, functional strength by maintaining long isometric holds, training their muscles to sustain effort and stabilize their bodies under continuous load. Furthermore, the very nature of isometric holds, the lack of joint movement, makes them ideal for seniors who are dealing with age-related joint issues, such as osteoarthritis. High-impact exercises like running or heavy lifting can exacerbate joint pain because they involve repeated, grinding movement across the joint surfaces. Isometrics bypass this problem entirely. They allow you to activate and strengthen the muscles surrounding the joint without causing the painful internal friction. This is particularly critical for the knees and hips, which bear the most load and are most susceptible to age-related wear. For example, the seated knee press, which we will detail later, creates an intense isometric contraction of the quadriceps to support the knee, but it does so without moving the knee joint at all. This mechanism also explains the profound cardiovascular benefits observed in large-scale studies. The 2023 groundbreaking analysis from the British Journal of Sports Medicine, which looked at over 15,000 participants, found that isometric exercises reduced systolic blood pressure by nearly 9 points, a result superior to running, swimming, and cycling. This may seem counterintuitive, as traditionally, we are taught that aerobic exercise is the gold standard for blood pressure. However, the sustained muscle tension created by isometrics is thought to compress the blood vessels, leading to a temporary surge in blood flow upon release. This repeated pattern of compression and release may train the blood vessel walls, specifically the endothelium, to dilate and regulate pressure more efficiently over time. The correct performance of these isometric exercises is simple, but requires a mindful shift in focus. You are not trying to move your body, you are trying to create tension by pushing against an immovable surface, or holding your body perfectly still against gravity. The core instructions for all isometric holds are: press and hold, breathe normally. The common mistake among beginners, especially seniors, is to hold their breath during the maximum effort phase, a phenomenon known as the Valsalva maneuver. This maneuver can spike blood pressure and completely defeat the purpose of the exercise, which is to gently and systematically improve cardiovascular health. Therefore, consistent, steady breathing is non-negotiable, and, as we will see with the wall-sit breath hold, it can be intentionally used to activate the parasympathetic nervous system and further reduce stress hormones. The 5 stretches we will cover are generations-old wisdom, formalized by modern science. They are designed to address the 5 most common physical deficits that compromise independence in later life: poor posture, hip weakness, upper body tightness, knee instability, and poor integrated balance. By dedicating a mere 15 minutes a day to these 5 simple holds, seniors can create lasting changes in their body's ability to support itself, move confidently, and resist the physical decline associated with aging. The effectiveness lies in consistency, not intensity. A gentle hold performed every day is scientifically proven to produce better, more sustainable results than an intense session performed once a week. This is the essence of the centenarian way. Simple movements, performed with patience and intention, every single day. One of the most profound and perhaps counterintuitive discoveries regarding the power of isometrics lies in its impact on cardiovascular health, specifically blood pressure. For decades, the medical consensus has firmly held that the most effective way to lower blood pressure is through sustained aerobic activity: running, cycling, or swimming. We associate the steady, repetitive motion of these activities with strengthening the heart and improving vascular health. However, recent large-scale clinical evidence has dramatically shifted this perspective, positioning simple, static holds as the new gold standard for blood pressure reduction in adults. The most compelling evidence comes from a groundbreaking study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine in 2023. This large-scale meta-analysis examined data from over 15,000 participants and compared the effectiveness of various types of exercise, including aerobic training, resistance training, and high-intensity interval training, HIIT, against isometric exercises. The results were staggering and challenged the established norms of cardiac rehabilitation. Isometric exercises reduced blood pressure more effectively than any other form of exercise. Specifically, the study found that participants experienced an average drop of nearly 9 points in their systolic pressure. This level of reduction, a drop of nearly 9 points in systolic pressure, is clinically significant and surpasses the benefits observed from running, swimming, or cycling. For seniors, this finding is revolutionary because it offers a highly effective, low-impact method to manage a condition that is a primary risk factor for stroke, heart attack, and kidney disease. It means you can achieve superior cardiovascular benefits without placing undue stress on aging joints, which is a major barrier to consistent aerobic exercise for many adults over 60. The mechanism behind why sustained muscle tension lowers blood pressure so effectively is still being fully explored, but the leading theory centers on 2 key vascular responses: post-contraction blood flow and endothelial function. When you perform an isometric hold, for instance, the wall-sit breath hold, you create an intense, sustained contraction in your leg muscles. This contraction temporarily compresses the blood vessels running through those muscles, particularly the smaller arteries and capillaries. This momentary restriction of blood flow is followed by a sudden, powerful surge of blood as soon as the hold is released. This repeated cycle of compression and reactive dilation acts like a vascular training session. Over time, this training effect improves the flexibility and responsiveness of the inner lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium. The endothelium is responsible for releasing compounds, such as nitric oxide, that regulate the dilation, widening, and constriction, narrowing, of blood vessels. By enhancing endothelial function, isometrics help the blood vessels relax more easily and consistently, which in turn reduces the resistance to blood flow and lowers overall resting blood pressure. A study in the European Journal of Applied Physiology found that isometric wall sits performed with controlled breathing reduced resting heart rate by an average of 7 beats per minute over 8 weeks. A lower resting heart rate is strongly associated with a longer lifespan and better overall cardiovascular health. The researchers explicitly noted that this specific combination of isometric exercise and breathing work produced cardiovascular benefits similar to moderate aerobic exercise. But critically, it did so without the joint impact or the associated injury risk. This is why the wall-sit breath hold has earned its reputation as the most important longevity movement. It integrates the blood pressure-lowering effects of isometrics with a specific breathing protocol designed to maximize cardiovascular calm. The recommended protocol involves inhaling slowly through the nose for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 4 seconds while maintaining the wall sit, and then exhaling slowly through the mouth for 6 seconds. This extended exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the body's rest and digest system. This activation reduces stress hormones and actively helps to lower blood pressure during the exercise itself. This combination of physical stress and induced cardiovascular calm is what Japanese practitioners call integrated resilience. The practical takeaway for you is this: for your heart and blood pressure health, you do not need to push your body to exhaustion. You need only to incorporate simple, consistent isometric holds, paying meticulous attention to your breathing. The simplicity of these holds, they require no special equipment, no gym membership, and only minutes of your day, makes them highly accessible and therefore highly sustainable, which is the ultimate key to long-term health success. The shift from the intense cardiovascular benefits of isometrics to the equally vital issue of posture reveals the holistic approach of Japanese longevity practices. For many adults over 60, the gradual decline in muscular strength between the shoulder blades leads to a common, yet often ignored, physical ailment: forward head posture, or the classic hunch. This posture, which makes people look decades older than they actually are, is not merely cosmetic. It is a painful cycle that constricts breathing and compromises the body's entire structural alignment. The Japanese solution is the seated wall press. The seated wall press is a stretch that has been practiced in Japanese wellness centers for over 200 years. It is a deceptively simple isometric hold that specifically targets the entire upper back, your shoulders, and the muscles surrounding your spine. The concept is beautifully simple. You sit with your back against a wall and press your arms backward into the surface behind you. There is no movement and there are no reps. You just press and hold. To perform the seated wall press properly, you need to find a sturdy wall and sit down with your entire back touching the surface. Your knees should be bent at a comfortable angle with your feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Now here's the important part. Place your arms at your sides with your elbows bent at 90 degrees. Your forearms should point toward the ceiling and your palms should face forward. From this position, you simply press your elbows, your upper arms, and the back of your head firmly into the wall behind you. You are not trying to move anything. You are trying to create tension by pushing into an immovable surface. Hold this position for 20 seconds when you first start. Breathe normally throughout the entire hold. Do not hold your breath because that can spike your blood pressure and defeat the purpose of the exercise. After 20 seconds, release the tension completely and rest for about 10 seconds. Then, repeat the hold 2 more times. As you get stronger over the coming weeks, gradually increase your hold time to 30 seconds and eventually to 45 seconds. The seated wall press works so effectively because it targets the rhomboids and the middle trapezius muscles. These are the muscles between your shoulder blades that tend to weaken as we age. When these muscles become weak, your shoulders round forward, your head juts out, and you develop that hunched appearance. By strengthening these muscles isometrically, you are essentially teaching your body to hold itself upright without conscious effort. The research backing this is compelling. A study from Osaka University examined 120 adults over the age of 70 who practiced this stretch daily for 8 weeks. The participants showed a remarkable 31% improvement in upper back strength and a 24% reduction in shoulder pain. The researchers noted that this single exercise helped correct the forward head posture that plagues so many older adults. Beyond the structural benefits, the seated wall press is a fundamental breathing exercise. When your upper back is strong and your posture is corrected, when your shoulders are no longer rounded forward, your lungs have more room to expand. A study in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science found that improved thoracic posture increased lung capacity by up to 18% in older adults. This is a massive functional gain, meaning more oxygen reaches your brain, your muscles, and every cell in your body. Japanese wellness practitioners recommend doing this stretch first thing in the morning, before you even get out of bed, or at least before you start your day, since you need to get to a wall. The morning timing matters because your muscles are naturally more relaxed after sleep, and the stretch helps activate your postural muscles for the entire day ahead. Many elders in Japan also practice this stretch in the evening to release the tension that accumulates from daily activities. The seated wall press is not just a stretch. It is a foundational reset for your posture and your respiratory system, creating the vertical alignment necessary for optimal health and mobility in your senior years. After addressing the critical issues of blood pressure and upper body posture, we must now focus on the foundation of all human movement, the hips. For seniors, the strength and stability of the hips are not just about comfort. They are the single most important factor in maintaining independence and preventing catastrophic injuries. Research from the National Institute on Aging found that hip weakness is the #1 predictor of falls in adults over 60. A fall, often starting with compromised hip stability, can be the irreversible turning point toward loss of independence and a decline in overall health. The Japanese solution to this pervasive danger is the standing hip anchor. The standing hip anchor is an isometric hold that directly strengthens the muscles around your hip joints while simultaneously improving balance and stability. This stretch directly addresses the problem of hip weakness. A clinical trial conducted at Nagoya University followed 215 participants aged 60 to 85 for 12 months. Half of the participants practiced the standing hip anchor daily, while the other half performed conventional hip exercises that involve movement. The results were conclusive. The isometric group showed a 42% greater improvement in hip stability compared to the movement group. Even more impressively, the isometric group reported being able to walk longer distances without fatigue and felt significantly more confident on uneven surfaces. This is real-world functional improvement, validating the power of the isometric non-movement approach. To perform the standing hip anchor, you will need a sturdy chair or countertop for balance support. Stand beside the chair with your hand resting lightly on the surface. It is crucial not to grip tightly. You want to use the support only for balance, not to hold yourself up or bear your weight. Now lift your outside leg just a few inches off the ground. You are not attempting a high kick or a deep stretch. You are simply lifting your foot about 3 to 4 inches. Once your foot is off the ground, the critical isometric engagement begins. Try to press your standing leg firmly into the floor as hard as you can, imagining you are trying to push the floor away from you. At the exact same time, engage your hip muscles to hold your lifted leg perfectly still. You should feel tension building strongly in your standing hip, your glutes, and the muscles along the side of your pelvis. Hold this position for 15 seconds while breathing steadily. Then lower your leg, rest for 5 seconds, and repeat on the same side 2 more times before switching to the other leg. The key to maximizing the benefits of this stretch is maintaining perfect alignment. Your standing leg should be straight, but never locked at the knee. Crucially, your hips must remain level, meaning one side should not be higher than the other. Your core must be engaged to prevent your torso from leaning excessively to either side. This exercise primarily activates the gluteus medius muscle. This is the muscle located on the side of your hip that acts as a primary stabilizer, preventing your pelvis from dropping when you walk. A weak gluteus medius is the direct cause of that characteristic waddle that many older adults develop. Strengthening this muscle isometrically helps you walk with a smooth, confident gait, which simultaneously takes stress off your knees and lower back. Japanese elders often integrate this stretch into mundane daily activities, practicing it while waiting for water to boil or during commercial breaks when watching television. This highlights the incredible accessibility of isometric exercises. They can be done anywhere, without special equipment or dedicated workout time. As you progress, you can increase the difficulty by reducing your reliance on the chair for support. Eventually, you might hold the position with just one finger touching the surface, and some advanced practitioners can do it with no support at all. Anchoring your hips with this simple, consistent isometric hold is the proven path to maintaining smooth, confident mobility and eliminating the #1 predictor of falls. Our modern lifestyle, characterized by hours spent looking down at screens, working at desks, driving, and even reading, has created an epidemic of forward-leaning postures. Research from the American Council on Exercise found that the average person spends over 7 hours per day in a forward flex position. This constant forward posture shortens the chest muscles, primarily the pectoralis group, and simultaneously weakens the upper back muscles, creating a painful cycle of tightness in the front and weakness in the back. This imbalance directly contributes to neck pain, shoulder impingement, and the hunched appearance we discussed earlier. The third most important isometric stretch, the door frame chest opener, is the Japanese elders' ingenious method for breaking this destructive cycle. The door frame chest opener is a unique isometric stretch because it performs a dual action. It actively lengthens the tight pectoralis muscles while simultaneously strengthening the opposing muscles in your upper back. Japanese physical therapists have utilized this technique for decades to specifically combat the negative effects of modern posture. The key is that this isometric nature addresses both tightness and weakness at once, which is why it is far more effective than passive stretching alone. A passive stretch simply lengthens a muscle. An isometric stretch lengthens the muscle while building strength in the opposing group, creating lasting, structural changes in how your body holds itself throughout the day. To perform the door frame chest opener, stand in a standard doorway, with your feet about shoulder width apart. Raise your arms so that your elbows are at shoulder height, and bend them at 90 degrees. Place your forearms and palms flat against the door frame on either side. Your body should resemble the shape of a goalpost. Now here is the key instruction. Step forward with one foot so that your chest moves slightly through the doorway. You should feel a gentle stretch across your chest and the front of your shoulders. Once you feel the stretch, stop moving forward and begin the isometric hold. Press your forearms firmly into the door frame as if you were trying to push the walls apart. At the same time, consciously squeeze your shoulder blades together and hold everything perfectly still. Your muscles are working against an immovable object, creating tremendous tension without any movement. Hold this position for 20 seconds, breathing deeply and evenly. The deep breathing is particularly important here, as you are opening up your chest cavity and allowing your lungs to expand more fully. After 20 seconds, step back, release the tension, and rest for 10 seconds. Repeat the hold 3 more times, for a total of 4 rounds. The clinical evidence for this simple hold is significant. A study published in the Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapies examined how isometric chest stretching affected adults with chronic shoulder pain. After only 6 weeks of daily practice, participants experienced a dramatic 53% reduction in pain levels and a 37% improvement in shoulder range of motion. The researchers concluded that the isometric component was essential because it not only stretched tight muscles, but also strengthened weak ones simultaneously. Japanese elders frequently practice this stretch multiple times throughout the day, especially following activities that necessitate reaching forward, such as cooking, gardening, or using a computer. By consistently performing the door frame chest opener, you are directly counteracting all the forward-leaning postures that modern life demands of us, ensuring your shoulders stay open, your breathing remains unrestricted, and your upper body remains aligned and strong for many years to come. We now turn our focus to the second most important isometric stretch practiced by Japanese elders, one that directly addresses what is arguably the most common complaint among adults over 50: knee pain. The knee joint, a complex hinge bearing significant daily load, is highly susceptible to wear, and pain here is often the root cause of decreased mobility and independence. The solution, the seated knee press, is deceptively simple but incredibly powerful for building the stability and strength that keeps you mobile and independent as you age. This stretch targets the muscles surrounding your knee joints, addressing the root cause of instability and pain rather than just masking symptoms. Traditional approaches to knee pain often involve gentle, low-resistance movements, but the isometric method provides a direct path to strengthening the vital supporting musculature without the joint-grinding motion that can exacerbate conditions like osteoarthritis. A landmark study from the University of Tokyo examined 340 adults with mild to moderate knee osteoarthritis. Participants who performed isometric knee exercises daily for 16 weeks showed a 49% reduction in pain scores. This is a massive improvement, especially when compared to the control group, which achieved only an 18% reduction. Furthermore, the isometric group demonstrated a 38% improvement in walking speed and a 27% increase in stair climbing ability. These are real, functional improvements that translate directly to a higher quality of life and sustained independence. To perform the seated knee press, sit in a sturdy chair with your back supported and your feet flat on the floor. Your knees should be bent at approximately 90 degrees. Now, focus on one leg and straighten it out in front of you until it is almost parallel with the floor. You do not need to lock your knee completely straight. A slight bend is actually better for long-term joint health. Once your leg is extended, the isometric engagement begins. Point your toes toward the ceiling and engage your thigh muscles as hard as you can. You must imagine you are trying to push your heel away from your body while simultaneously pulling your kneecap up toward your hip. This creates a maximum isometric contraction that intensely activates the quadricep muscles without any joint movement. Hold this contracted position for 10 seconds while breathing normally. Then, lower your leg slowly and rest for 5 seconds. Repeat 4 more times on the same leg before switching to the other side. The total time for both legs is only about 3 minutes, but the benefits are profound. Why isometrics protect the knee? The seated knee press works so effectively because it targets all 4 heads of the quadriceps muscle group simultaneously. These muscles are responsible for straightening your knee and supporting your entire body weight when you stand. When the quadriceps are weak, your knees become unstable and prone to injury. Crucially, the isometric hold also strengthens the tendons and ligaments around the knee joint. A study in the Clinical Journal of Sport Medicine found that isometric exercises increase tendon stiffness by 23% over 12 weeks. While stiffer tendons might sound negative, they are actually more stable and less prone to injury. Think of it like the difference between a loose rubber band and a tight one. The tight band provides more consistent support and rebounds more effectively under stress. Japanese elders often practice this stretch while sitting at the dinner table, while watching their grandchildren play, or while relaxing in the evening. The seated position makes it accessible for people of all fitness levels, including those who have difficulty standing for extended periods. As you progress, you can increase the hold time to 15 seconds and eventually to 20 seconds. This simple 3-minute daily ritual is a powerful defense against knee instability and the key to maintaining a confident, pain-free gait. We have arrived at the pinnacle of Japanese isometric wisdom, the wall-sit breath hold. This is the single most important isometric stretch practiced by Japanese elders, and it is a modified version of the classic wall sit combined with a specific, powerful breathing technique. Researchers at Tokyo University conducted a comprehensive study on this exact movement and formally called it the single most effective isometric exercise for promoting longevity and preventing falls. The clinical data backing this claim is overwhelming, validating why this one stretch is considered better than walking for preserving senior independence. The study followed 520 adults over the age of 60 for 3 years and found that those who practiced the wall-sit breath hold daily had a monumental 63% lower risk of falling compared to non-practitioners. This is not a small incremental benefit. A 63% reduction in the risk of falling is a game changer for senior health and autonomy. Furthermore, the practitioners showed 41% better balance scores and could stand from a seated position 2 seconds faster on average. In fall prevention research, that seemingly small speed difference is considered clinically significant, reflecting superior lower body power and reaction time. The wall-sit breath hold targets virtually every muscle in your lower body simultaneously. Your quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, calves, and even your deep core stabilizers all work together to hold you in position. But it is the specific breathing component that adds an extra dimension missed by most Western exercise programs. To perform this exercise correctly, follow these steps with meticulous attention to detail. Stand with your back against a smooth, sturdy wall. Walk your feet out about 18 inches from the wall and position them hip-width apart. Slowly slide your back down the wall until your knees are bent at approximately 130 degrees. This is critical. It is intentionally not as deep as a traditional wall sit. Japanese practitioners recommend this shallower angle because it provides maximum muscle activation while minimizing joint stress on the knees. Your thighs should be about halfway between standing and having your thighs parallel to the floor. Once in position, press your entire back firmly into the wall. Your shoulders, your mid-back, and your lower back should all maintain contact with the surface. Now, begin the specific breathing pattern. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds while maintaining the wall sit position. Then, exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. This extended exhale is key, as it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which reduces stress hormones and helps to lower blood pressure even during the exertion. Continue this breathing pattern while holding the wall sit for a total of 60 seconds. When you first start, you might only manage 30 or 40 seconds. This is perfectly normal. Rest for 30 seconds, then repeat the hold 2 more times. The ultimate goal is to build up to 3 sets of 60-second holds with controlled breathing throughout. This one movement works on multiple systems at once, creating what Japanese practitioners call integrated resilience. The isometric contraction builds muscular strength and endurance. The wall contact improves proprioception, which is your body's ability to sense where it is in space. The breathing protocol trains your cardiovascular system to remain calm under physical stress. The entire sequence trains your body to function as a coordinated whole, not just a collection of separate, aging parts. Japanese elders typically practice this stretch once in the morning and once in the evening. The morning session activates the leg muscles for daily activities. The evening session, however, helps release accumulated tension and promotes better sleep. Research from Keona University found that participants who performed evening isometric exercises reported 22% better sleep quality compared to those who exercised only in the morning. The wall-sit breath hold earned the #1 position because it provides comprehensive benefits for strength, balance, cardiovascular health, and stress reduction, all in one simple movement that takes less than 5 minutes per day. Research in the European Journal of Applied Physiology found that isometric wall sets performed with controlled breathing reduced resting heart rate by an average of 7 beats per minute over 8 weeks. Lower resting heart rate is associated with longer lifespan and better cardiovascular health. The researchers noted that this combination of isometric exercise and breathing work produced cardiovascular benefits similar to moderate aerobic exercise, but without the joint impact or injury risk. The seated wall press corrects your posture and strengthens your upper back. The standing hip anchor builds the hip stability that prevents falls. The door frame chest opener releases tension and improves breathing. The seated knee press protects your knees and maintains your mobility. And the wall sit breath hold ties everything together into a comprehensive system for longevity and independence. These 5 isometric stretches represent centuries of Japanese wisdom, validated by modern scientific research. The beauty of isometric exercises is their accessibility. You do not need expensive equipment or a gym membership, and you do not need to worry about complex movements. You simply hold a position and breathe. Start with just one of these stretches today. Pick the one that addresses your biggest concern, whether that is posture, hip stability, knee pain, or overall strength. Practice it consistently for 2 weeks before adding another stretch. Within a month, you could be doing all 5 stretches in less than 15 minutes per day. Consistency matters more than intensity with isometric exercises. A gentle hold performed every day will produce better results than an intense session done once a week. The Japanese elders who live past 100 achieved their remarkable health through daily practice of simple movements performed with intention and patience. The journey into the secrets of Japanese longevity reveals that the path to vitality in our senior years is not paved with exhaustion and high impact, but with stillness and intention. The discovery of isometrics as a superior training method for blood pressure, fall prevention, and functional strength gives you a clear, actionable roadmap to reclaim your independence. You now hold the knowledge of the 5 powerful holds, from the seated wall press that opens your lungs to the wall sit breath hold that reduces your fall risk by 63%. Remember that consistency, that gentle, daily commitment is the true engine of lasting health. Do not wait for a crisis to begin securing your future. Start small, start today, and empower your body with the integrated resilience of the centenarians. Your mobility and independence are within your control.